was a lot that happened today. I'm just kind of curious to know, like, from one or two folks, like, what's something highlight from the day so far for you? Something interesting, something you enjoyed. It's one highlight so far, something that's exciting. Yes.
I love that all the buildings are connected, and that when it's freezing out or raining out, you don't need to be outside.
Absolutely, that's something that we really do enjoy when it's very cold. Sometimes it gets a little cold in the winter. You can go actually from class to class and stay inside. Only challenge is when it's nice out, make sure you go outside to do that, because you can actually stay inside for a couple of days and not know whether it's sunny or raining. Another highlight, something else you've enjoyed so far. What person? I'm going to teacher mode and I'll call on somebody. Yes, in the back. Yes, the courtyard is very beautiful. Yeah, we call that the plaza. Has different parts. We have lots of different activities and programs out there. One of the things that makes Fordham Lincoln Center unique is the fact that we have that. You know, a lot of urban campuses, sometimes they're vertical campuses or they're in different areas. We actually have a courtyard, so it makes Lincoln Center a great place. It's like a home base. So we can use this as a place to go forth from and also return to. In the warm weather, lots of folks are out there. I know I particularly enjoy it. Great. Yes, one more. Thank you. Everyone's friendly, supportive, and willing to help, which is good. That means the check's all cleared, which is great. So no, thank you. We very much enjoy it. You know, we enjoy the work that we do. We feel that this is something of value. We're excited to be in accompaniment with you in this really great enterprise, and particularly here at Fordham with the values that we have. So as I said before, my name is Connor O'Kane. I am the Assistant Dean for first-year students, what I'm called the Class Dean. We have a Class Dean system here where you have a dean who will walk with you and accompany you through each stage of your academic journey. So I'm with you in your first year. You have a sophomore dean, a junior and transfer dean, and then a senior dean. So as you declare your major, think about internships, and then think about what's beyond, there's someone to walk with you. Then I also send greetings and welcomes from the dean of our college, Dr. Laura Arricchio, who is an incredible visionary leader and voice for our community. Hopefully you've received some emails from her. She sends out a weekly Wednesday email. I would encourage you to please read that. You won't be sorry that you do. There's lots of great information in it about upcoming activities and things like that. She's a native New Yorker, so she knows the city very well. And she's a historian and a scholar, so there's really no stone left unturned in the city. So if you really haven't had a chance to, I would say read that Wednesday email from her, as well as all the other emails I know that you're getting from us. Quite a few. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about academics, a little bit about kind of the experience here, but mostly hear from our students who have walked that journey, answer some questions that you might have, and then go on from there. There are kind of a lot of things that I know folks are working through right now. Many folks are either working to register or refine their schedule. If you're still doing that, that's okay. You continue to work with your summer advisor and your academic ambassador. So one of the things that we do to really empower you to be, we call it agents of your academic destiny. Now, it sounds very grand, but we really want you to be empowered and to begin this journey thinking about what it is that kind of piques your intellectual interest, those things that really inspire you, those classes that really engage you, those things that you say, wow, I didn't anticipate I would enjoy this class as much as I did. I want to learn more, so I encourage you to follow that. Or perhaps you might take a core class and say, I'm glad I took this and it fulfilled the requirement. Perhaps I won't take another one, which is good too. When you go through this process of data collection, and saying, these are the subjects that resonate with me. These are the ones that pique my interest, that expand my intellectual curiosity, my academic horizon, and then ultimately, perhaps I might want to pursue this as a course of study. So we're really here to accompany you as you go through that process. I know it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but we'll hear from students today who are in the midst of that and who have made it through their first year. So it is, in fact, very doable. And for those of you who are here for the first time in New York City or joining us virtually, and you'll be here in the fall, I know New York City can be a little overwhelming as well. It can be a little challenging, can be a big city. I'm not a New York native, but I moved here and I'm here with my family, and I have to say I absolutely love it. I'm actually a resident dean, so I live in the residence hall, so you'll see me around with my family, perhaps too much, on campus. And we're engaged in the local community. We're in the PTA of our local school. We take swim lessons at the YMCA. We go to the park. We see people we know at the supermarket. But one of the things that I love about this is the fact that right outside our door, at our doorstep in New York City, is incredible diversity, is incredible culture, is incredible vibrancy. Now, my family they're young, so they're kind of just getting a little bit of that. Imagine when you start your college career here, that you can make this your home. And this is going to be at your doorstep and your fingertips. New York has had a very interesting year. We're poised for a very exciting and successful year. So it's a really exciting time to be in New York City, and with all those things really right at your fingertips and at your doorstep. So I'm very excited for all of you who are going to be joining us in the fall. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our students. I'd like to ask them to please come up to the stage, and they're going to answer a couple questions that we've received. Also, you should have received an index card and a golf pencil. And if you have, feel free to write down a question you might have, and we'll have folks roving around who will pick those up, and we'll try to answer as many of those as we can. Same thing if you're joining from home and in the chat, please write in the chat, and we'll try to get that in our questions. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, there we go. I'll do 2. So I'd ask our students here if you could please introduce yourself, what it is that you're studying, where you're from, and then we'll go through a couple of questions that we've received and that we have for you. Go ahead, so April, if you wouldn't mind.
Hi, my name's April. I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm majoring in women, gender, and sexuality studies and sociology. I'm a rising senior.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josie. I'm from upstate New York, around Albany. I'm majoring in environmental science and minoring in French studies on the pre-med track. And I just finished my senior year.
Hi, I'm Sloan Cameron. I'm from Austin, Texas. I'm studying art history and minoring in fashion studies. Oh, and I'm a rising senior.
Hi, I'm Ancia. I'm from Edison, New Jersey. I'm a rising sophomore and I'm majoring in political science.
Great, thank you. And I think we have 2 ambassadors as well who are joining us on the chat. I know we had a little technological challenges. Sonia and Carly, if you're able to introduce yourself, great. If not, we'll move on.
Hi, sorry, I'm here. My name's Carly. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I'm a rising junior.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm majoring in dance and international studies, and I'm from Chicago.
Great, thank you. So we have a great cross-section of students varying different majors and programs, as well as parts of all over the country as well. So I think our first question is April to Sloan, right?
I have a question that I want to ask Sloan. What influenced you to attend Fordham College at Lincoln Center?
So initially, my mom told me to apply to Fordham. She thought that it was a really good school for me, and I was like, oh, okay, like I'll apply, whatever. I knew that I wanted to go to school in this city, and so after looking into more about what Fordham stood for and all of its kind of tenets and the way it's set up with 2 campuses, one kind of urban and one in Rose Hill, I just thought it was a really good kind of transition into the city, being in the heart of the city, but kind of facilitating going to school here, especially with my major being art history. I feel like New York has so much culture, like in the city itself, and so I really feel like Fordham facilitated a smooth transition into city living. Okay, and Sia, I know that you've done some kind of like research work. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, of course. So I'm currently a research assistant at the Global Studies Consortium, which was a grant offered by the Dean's Office. And I think I just applied through one of Dean Oricchio's emails. It looked interesting, and I've always wanted to see whether or not I liked research. My sister had done some research, but she had done it in the STEM fields, and I had never really known what research in a social science looked like. And so I was wondering if it was the same delayed gratification, experimentation, and trial and error. And it is, just to kind of like a different degree. What we do there is we're trying to create a global heat map of all Fordham faculty and alumni who are conducting research abroad or have conducted research abroad in the past. And then we then plan to move that onto a different website. That's what I'm doing.
I just wanted to also add on to that. I'm also doing research, but more in the hard sciences in a way. I'm working in the laboratory here at Fordham. I'm assisting a professor, as well as doing my own research project. My work is also funded through the Dean's Grant, which I also applied for last year. And hopefully, if all goes well, students are able to present their research at the Ars Nova conference that we have every year, as well as publish in the Fordham University Research Journal. Hello. Can you tell me about the core and how it's been impactful in your academic journey?
Sure. I feel like the core curriculum really allowed me to jumpstart my scholarship and publication pursuits. As a freshman, I took philosophy and composition, and I saw that two of the topics really converged into something that I wanted to talk about, and I was able to publish an article in EP, our freshman year publication, and it's given me something to talk about whenever I am applying for opportunities like research opportunities or internship opportunities, and really given me the language to explain why I want to go into the field that I want to go into without having to have hard experience. How have you had an internship, and describe the internship opportunities you have had and how those experiences have fit into your academic journey?
And just so the folks at home can hear, could you guys speak right into your microphones? Thank you.
Scared now.
You guys are doing great.
Yelling at
Far better
everybody
than
on
I.
the computer. Okay. So I have had an internship. I got an internship probably like 3 weeks before the pandemic hit, and I had to call my boss on the phone and say, "Thank you for giving me this internship, but I have to go home." And so luckily she's been so kind and so considerate about everything with the pandemic that she let me do mailing list stuff from home over the pandemic and doing stuff online, and has welcomed me with open arms upon my return back to the city. And so I feel like it kind of speaks to New York's resilience throughout the pandemic, of how it's kind of risen from the ashes that was the pandemic, and we're kind of back on track. But I feel like Fordham really facilitates you kind of taking your own track and doing internships and pursuing other opportunities outside of the classroom, and really encourages that. Sometimes you can even get credit for it, but yeah, it's been a really good opportunity, and I'm really excited to get back to work.
Great, thank you, Sloan. And Carly, did you have some experience with an internship as well?
Yes, I'm actually doing my internship right now. I am a digital technology and emerging media major. Well, that's one of my majors. I'm also a dance major. And my internship is like asset management, but through marketing. And it's something I never would have realized that I'd be interested in. But I've just learned so much. And I really think that the curriculum at Fordham prepared me for the internship. So I encourage you guys to really listen to your professors and take advantage of those courses, because it's going to help you in your internships.
All right, thank you very much. So there's a lot out there, a lot of opportunities for internships, some opportunities for research and study, particularly through the Dean's Grant, as well as other opportunities through the university. A couple of questions here we received, and we'll do them kind of quick, kind of round robin style. In terms of insights for students, so scheduling classes, do you have a quick insight for that? So Insia, what do you say? What advice do you have for scheduling classes?
Yeah, so your first semester of your freshman year, everybody is kind of taking the same classes unless you're in a special cohort. So I understand that it's pretty difficult to try to customize your schedule and get exactly which class you want, specifically because this year there were so many more freshmen, and so a lot of the classes filled up kind of quickly, even though a lot of new sections have been added. But I guess my best tip of advice would be to schedule classes based on your current habits and not habits that you aspire to attain. If you want to be, if you're not an 8:30 person, if you wake up at 11 o'clock naturally every single day, you're not going to magically be like an 8 a.m. person. It's not going to happen. Speaking from experience. So if it's possible for you to schedule classes a little later to the day or earlier to the day, if you want to end them by 2 o'clock, I would try to do that. And to just check to see if professors are a good fit for you. And then also, of course, to try to stay on Lincoln Center campus, figuring out the RAM band and trying to navigate Rotail is something that you kind of don't want to put yourself through for semester.
Yeah, we have lots of opportunities. Thank you. Question about doing homework. Sonia, maybe you could speak to this. I know as a dance student, you have to be very structured with your time. What advice do you have for doing homework?
I think just kind of figuring out a routine that works well with your schedule. Like, for example, for me, I actually found that getting up early and doing homework before dance was actually really beneficial for my schedule, and I got a lot done. So I think just figuring out what works best for you and just kind of sticking to your routine.
Great, thank you very much. We also have a number of different resources as well. Josie, what advice do you have for academic resources?
Sorry, just going backtrack on the homework for a second. When you get to college, it's kind of different than in high school because a lot of your homework isn't necessarily like something that you're turning in every single day. Most of your work will be in preparation for a class. So the more on top of your homework you are, like say you reading a chapter, the more engaging that class and more rewarding it will be. As for academic resources, my first advice to people is always go to office hours and meet your professors. On the first day, you're going to get a syllabus with like the information for the entire semester, and they'll say the office hours and where their office is. And just go and introduce yourself so that they know who they know your face, and you can go and talk to them if you have any concerns whatsoever. Professors love it when you come to office hours and you can ask them questions or get specific help. On the top of that, we also have a writing center that I personally find to be really helpful. You can just sign up for a time and somebody will help go through your writing with you and edit grammar or concepts or anything like that. We also have peer tutoring for a lot of classes. That is super great if your professor is kind of intimidating or you want like more regular help. So all of these resources are here. I highly recommend if you start struggling in a class to go and look for those resources early. They will be there for you if you need them.
Thank you. Actually, let's see if I can borrow you my. Hey, it's very helpful, and I think great advice in terms of getting out there early and making use of these resources that are available to you. We kind of say it's like a gym membership, you know, it's included, so make use of them. They're really gonna, engage and reinforce your experience here. We're also joined today by two other deans that I didn't introduce in the beginning. Dean Stark Gendrano, who is our junior dean and our transfer dean for our transfer students who are here today, and Dean Williams, who is our Dean of Student Success. And I invite her up just to speak real briefly about some of the other wonderful opportunities we have for support and some of the things that we'll be doing this summer. And as we do that, if you have questions on your index card, hold them up and we'll come around and collect those from there.
Hey, everybody. My name is Tracy Ann Williams. I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Support and Success. I am thrilled to see all of you here and excited that you decided to come in person, and happy to see all of you online, quite a bit online too. Part of what I do is enhance what my Assistant Dean colleagues do. I am effervescently your cheerleader. I am going to be working hard to help you figure out things when you think that you can't figure out a path. If there are issues in your classes and you are terrified of your professors and you don't take Josie's advice to go and meet with them, you can come and find me. And I will coach you through how to write a 5-sentence email to your professor saying, "Dear wonderful professor, I hope you are well. I'm sorry that I'm behind on my work. Can we discuss a due date for the missing work? Hugs and kisses, your name." And then we wait. This is some of what I do, but I also help with big picture stuff too. If there are things going on that are terrifying to you, like you're not sure why you're not sleeping, you're not sure why you're feeling a little down, you're not sure why you don't like your roommate even more, even though when you met, you thought they were the bomb. I can help you with all of that stuff and more. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm also going to put in a plug for the summer read. You all got an email. Some of you are not signing up for it because you looked at the thickness of the book and you're like, oh, I can't do that. That's just wrong. You need to sign up. Why? Because you'll get to see me for 3 successive weeks, as well as my co-conspirator at the Rose Hill campus. We have a bunch of guests coming to talk about the book, but we're going to expand upon the book. We're going to talk about the issues within the book and spread out. So some of the issues in the book, for those of you that aren't familiar with the text, art, activism, race, policing, all sorts of fun stuff. So come and talk about it. The last thing I will say is that I also co-coordinate the tutoring program. And at Fordham, tutoring isn't remedial. Tutoring is a way to get a leg up. So if you are somebody who thinks that A- sucks, you know who you are, then you might want to take advantage of tutoring, because that's how you might learn, in addition to talking to that professor, how to make your work a work, okay? So we can help you with all sorts of things here at Fordham. I'm happy to see some of my research fellows here that I haven't seen in person. We have very elaborate relationships online. And I'm just so thrilled that you're here, and welcome, and I hope to see you and talk to you and be able to help you as you're moving through your time here. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. So I just want to take a few minutes to get to some of the questions that have come in through the chat and from all of you in the room. If you have questions that you didn't hand in to one of the orientation leaders yet, just wave your hand and they'll come around and grab them. So I want to begin with a really good question that I think everyone here in this room is wondering, and that is, what one piece of advice would you have for a student entering their first semester? So I think I want to make sure that we bring the students in on this question, but I also want to bring in Dean Williams, who might have a word or two to say on this, and then we'll kick it over to the students.
First of all, I would say professors and deans and administrators are humans. So don't not talk to us if there's something going on. Problems don't go away if you wish them away. So if there's an issue going on, just come and talk about it. Really. Sure, I'll get back there too. The other thing that I will tell you is, please check your email. You're hearing from so many of the students that they read their email and then they decided to apply for something. And so Dean Riccio does send things out, and people ignore them for some reason. And then they email me like 2 months later and say, I really wanted to do that research fellowship that you're administering, but it's too late. So we have some great students doing some amazing fellowships this semester, doing research that is in English, but I don't understand what they're doing at all. The words together make no sense to me, but it's just amazing the level of research that they're doing, and it's paid, but you would miss out on it if you don't read your email. So please, for the love of God, read your email. Sometimes also you just get love notes from your deans. I send out love notes. How are you doing? Is everything okay? I was thinking about you. You would miss that if you don't read your email. So read your email.
Yes, and one thing just to add on to what Dean Williams was saying, please read your email. Please. So I want to send this over to the student panelists. Is there, perhaps just, one sentence, like one key bit of wisdom that you would want to pass along to your peers here in this room and online? What one thing made a difference for you in your first semester?
One sentence. My goodness.
You can have two sentences.
Okay.
It's okay.
I think my advice would be to give yourself a bit of a break. I think people come in with these really high expectations of like perfect roommate, perfect class. You're going to find the perfect dream major and all your best friends in the first month. And it takes time, and that's okay, and that's normal. And so give yourself a break if things don't happen as soon as you want them to. They will happen. You will figure out what you're doing.
I'm gonna elaborate on that and say, Yeah, you're not a study machine or an internship, working, volunteer, club leader like machine. If you like, I came into college super intimidated that all of my classes were going to give me like 10 hours of work each, and like college students like didn't sleep, and that's just not true here. If you manage your time, you have plenty of time to take time for yourself, go to Central Park, read a book, reflect on your hopes, wants, dreams. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Just try to focus your first semester on adjusting to college. If you can figure out a subway transfer, like that's fine. You'll be okay. Try to like figure out things here first and take it one step at a time.
And like ask for help. Like there's so many people here, like whether that's your peers, like your roommate, your RFM, like your professors, you know, email your advisors, your summer academic ambassadors, like ask for help because it's so important to get that help. And so many people are willing to give you help, whether it's a silly question or a big question. There's a lot of great people here to help you.
Carly and Sonia, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll just elaborate on what she just said, is that there's so many people here to help you guys. So take advantage of that. There's so many resources, like for whatever you need, there's a resource. So really use those and go to office hours. It's really important.
I would say just the city really is your campus, so take advantage of it, explore it, have fun with it.
Okay, I have another question. Is the summer reading mandatory? The summer reading is awesome. I will answer it that way. I just read The Hate You Give with my 13-year-old son, who was blown away by this book. So for those of you who look at the number of pages, I would say, you know, my 13-year-old zipped through it faster than I did because he's not dealing with all the email and everything. He read it in about 2.5 days, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Okay, so I do want to strongly encourage it, and you will also have the opportunity to have fabulous discussions with Dean Williams and Dean Garcia leading you through the book. So that will be my answer on that one. How should a student get involved in research? I know a couple of you have done some student research. Do you want to talk a little bit about that initial ask, right? Because I think that's the thing that really trips a lot of students up, right? Going from, I think I'm interested in research, to actually building that relationship with the professor.
Yeah, sure. So I can go first. Again, it was just in one of the Wednesday emails, and I scrolled down to where it said that there were, I think, 10 or 12 fellowship offers, and they were offered through Handshake, which is like our job searching website. And I looked through all of them, and when I saw the Global Studies Consortium, I found it particularly interesting because I like global affairs and I like international topics, and it would just allow me to flesh that out a little bit more. And I think it was a fairly straightforward process. It was just on a Google form. It probably was like a 2-paragraph application. And then I heard back in June that I had been accepted after a couple of emails to see if I was still being considered. But aside from the fellowships that were administered by the dean's office, I know a lot of people go about research just by contacting a professor who they had. And just if you go to the Fordham website and you have a professor and you go through their research interests and just ask them if they are either considering taking on a student or if they can connect you to any faculty that would be able to help. It's usually how you can take that initial step.
Okay, so I think the 2 main ones I know about and that I'm doing are, I got a Dean's Summer Research Grant to start my senior thesis, but correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that any like grade level can get that summer research grant. So if you're just coming into college and you're like, I have something that's in the back of my mind, I read a cool book, I read a cool article, I want to learn more about this, just apply for it. And I think that the likelihood of you getting it is like pretty awesome if you like put a lot of work into just developing a research plan and connecting with a professor. And like Ancia said, there's also the summer research fellowships, which I happen to be doing with a professor, the same professor that's advising my thesis. And I feel like the way I was able to build those relationships is by just like talking with them. Like your professors are really cool, honestly. Like they're people, they know about New York City, they know they have like interests, and if your interests align, like that's a really great way to just build a relationship. And also like actually try on your papers. I feel like a lot of times whenever we have homework, like we might think of it as just a way to get a grade or like a means to just graduate college and get a degree. But if your professors are like, wow, you like said some really cool things in your papers, they might ask you to help them out. And
Professors want research assistants, so don't be afraid to ask. I also think, again, if you can build a relationship with one professor in a department, say through any class, you can ask them specifically, I'm really interested in this topic. Is there any professor that you know of that is doing anything with this? And then you just kind of like go to their office and introduce yourself and ask if you can help. They are really friendly, they would like help, and it just takes a little bit of courage, but you can do it.
Yeah, I would encourage everyone to think about the professors here really as a resource for all of you, right? You're talking about a whole community of people who are just geeking out on, this cool set of discoveries that they want to share with the world, right? And they want to bring you along on that journey. I know sometimes, especially in your freshman year, it might feel a little intimidating to go up and talk to the professors, but they really all care about the students here and want to make sure that you have what you need and that you understand the material, and will go above and beyond to make sure that you're asking those questions and getting the information you need about the opportunities that are out there. So I think we have time for maybe one more question or maybe two. So we have a lot of students who are interested in study abroad. And we didn't talk about that too much in the earlier questions. Have any of you done study abroad? No study abroad. Carly or Sonia? It's a little tricky this year in particular, just because the study abroad program, obviously with all of the restrictions that had to be curtailed. But I work with the juniors who, that is when many students will go abroad. We have a wonderful program in London, the London Center, which is, it's Fordham, but in London, right? So, for any of you who might be worried about, how credits would transfer, or, whether you're going to have the same level of support on a study abroad program for students who are doing programs that are really structured, where it might be kind of hard to fit in the electives that might be part of a study abroad program, the London Center is a great option for students. We also have relationships with programs in South Korea and South Africa, and Spain, all over the world. We have a lot of really, really great programs. And those programs are back up and running. So for those of you who are interested in study abroad, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to the study abroad office when you get here and talk to them a little bit about the application process and what's involved. It's not too early in freshman year to start thinking about it, right? Because it does take some planning in order to make sure that you have that foundation, right? Because you don't want to do an extra semester or two in order to, have that study abroad experience, right? As much as possible, you want to, have that year abroad or that semester abroad and still graduate on time, right? So planning early, having those conversations in freshman year is going to make sure, it's going to help you make sure that you have that good early foundation. Okay, so I think the last question, double majors. Have any of you double majored? Okay, yeah, I mean, I can talk about that a little bit as well, but I'm curious to know from your perspective, was that complicated? How did you go about declaring your major? What was that process like for you?
I think it's super doable to do a double major at Fordham, especially with taking such a diverse array of classes with the core curriculum. Chances are that you're going to take classes that would count for multiple majors anyways with the core. I was originally international political economy, and I was working on that for a little bit, and then just added sociology later on, and then decided that I wanted to women, gender, and sexuality studies. I've changed my major like 5 times, and it's still gonna work out fine for me. So yeah, don't be afraid to change your major. Maybe that's not the best advice to college freshmen, but like it's totally possible. And with the majors that I have now, there's also a lot of courses that count over. I think with most majors, they only let you double count 2 courses, but yeah, a lot of majors have overlap. So it's totally possible. Do it if you want.
Yeah, I think, for anyone who's interested in doing a double major, one key piece of advice is to go and talk to the department where you're interested in doing the major. They can give you great advice about your options within that particular field of study. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is to look for core curriculum classes that overlap with that particular major, right? So if you're in your freshman year, you're thinking, boy, I really love English literature and I really love political science, right? You'll be taking a composition class anyway. That will give you a little bit of an introduction to the English department, right? Maybe you want to take an intro to political science class, which will fulfill the social science requirement of the core, right? If you're thinking about majoring in philosophy, then, that intro philosophy class is going to give you a little taste of the department. So I would encourage you to think about using the core curriculum as a way to explore that interest in whatever field of study you're thinking about. And this applies for transfer students too, right? You want to look for opportunities to check off those boxes and still meet those interests of yours, right? As opposed to thinking about the core only as a set of requirements that we're imposing on you, right? It really is an opportunity to explore, and we have a lot of options within the core. So, for some of those requirements, there might be classes in 10 or 15 different departments that you could take to fulfill something like global studies or American pluralism, right? So it really is an opportunity for you to kind of dive into your interests and see whether that particular major in that department would be a good fit for you. All right, I think we probably are out of time, right? Yeah. So I'm going to hand it back over to my colleague, Dean O'Kane.
Thank you very much, Dean Stark-Chandrano. Unfortunately, we are getting close to time. We want to keep you on schedule. I did just get one more question. It's, should I check my Fordham email daily? The answer to that's yes. We want to thank you very much for your time. We didn't get to everybody's question. If you do have a question, please feel free to email our office account. It's FCLC_first year, one word, at Fordham. You've received probably lots of emails from there. Email your question if it didn't get answered. We'll try to get back to you. I want to thank all of our students who are able to join us here in person and virtually today. They are living proof that, in fact, this is quite doable, and you can not only survive your first year, but you can thrive. Which is really what we invite you to do during your time here. So I want to thank our students. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. And we very much look forward to walking with you when the year begins. Enjoy the rest of your time here. Thank you.
Thank you. That was it for our academic welcome. Thank you to our deans and thank you to our student panelists. We're going to take another short break until our other tracks are back on schedule. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask and we will get started again shortly.